What's up, minions? So, a bunch of Christians got mad that Christian Bale said Moses was a terrorist in some interview a while back. John Smith defended Christian Bale and used the Bible to argue that some of the actions of Moses, that of course never end up in any movies about him, would be identified as acts of terror if employed by pretty much anyone else for any reason. You guys remember when Looney Tunes had 3,000 people killed that one time? And then when Looney Tunes ground the golden calf down into powder and made the people drink it mixed with water? Then there was that one time Looney Tunes had that dude killed for picking up sticks on the wrong day? And then that other time when he told the peoples to kill all the men and all the women who have known men and take the virgins for themselves? John Smith is simply amazed at all the crazy mental somersaults that some Christians go to explain how all this stuff old Moses did somehow was good and moral, and that was the Old Testament, and God had to kill those guys because ultimately J-Man or something, and saving us from sin, yada yada. It's just dizzying. My head hurts just thinking about it sometimes. No matter how many times John Smith countered that in any other situation of someone killing 3,000 of their own people and making them drink gold, we would consider that an act of terrorism and likely drone strike their ass or take them out with Navy SEALs or something. Christians just will not bend, minions. Moses was holy and righteous and doing God's will and freeing the slaves and stuff and writing down all the rules in his infallible holy book about how they could get their own slaves. I know, slavery's totally different. Whole different subject. How dare you judge holy God, John Smith? Then, of course, comes the "you don't understand the Bible," followed by threats of hell. And, of course, a few times, John Smith has to play the hypothetical game. What would it take, John Smith, to convince you that God is good and moral and just, and everything he commands his prophets to do is good and moral and just? What would it take to convince you that Quetzalcoatl is the real God and what he says is good and moral and just? Because John Smith figures the answer is pretty much the same, but apparently that is a kindergarten way of arguing in the sense of I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Just answer the question, John Smith, which is what John Smith thought he was doing. So here is John Smith's challenge. If Quetzalcoatl appeared before you and told you he was the one true God and demanded that you sacrifice 100 human hearts in worship to him, even though it's not really Quetzalcoatl's thing, but just roll with it, what would you do? Remember, Quetzalcoatl has proven to you, in whatever way was necessary, through words and deeds and convincing dialogue, etc., that he is in fact a god, and whatever he asks for is good and moral, because you don't get to judge him because you are a mere mortal. Would you change your mind and become a Quetzalcoatlian? Would you do the sacrifice? Christians who bother to answer this hypothetical either cannot or would not be convinced by Quetzalcoatl, no matter what he did, and they simply refuse to entertain the possibility. Typical answers tend to go along the lines of, "You are confused, John Smith, about the true nature of my God, because you must have read the Bible wrong or taken it out of context or something, and I can't pronounce that name, so it's obviously fake that you just made up probably. My God is totally real. And I'm just going to call your God What's-a-Puddle because I can't pronounce it. Even though I could totally go to Wikipedia and click on this link and they would tell me how to pronounce it.
Quetzalcoatl.
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 Quetzalcoatl. There is nothing Quetzalcoatl could do to prove that he was real. And my God said in his holy book, we will know him by his works. And there's absolutely no works that puny Quetzalcoatl could possibly do that would measure up to my God and Jesus. Quetzalcoatl's puny powers would only amount to some Marvel or DC character anyway. I don't know, like Thor maybe? How dare you compare your stupid God to Jesus? You are stupid and you hate God, John Smith. So, just to be mature about this, I thought I would bring Quetzalcoatl here and he could tell you a little bit about himself. Hey dude, are you ready to rock?
Hi folks. My name is Quetzalcoatl. Quetzal means feather and coatl means serpent. Quetzalcoatl's symbol was a wind jewel or conch shell cut at the cross section symbolizing patterns in nature and elemental forces. Quetzalcoatl was the god of the morning star, the lord of the star of dawn. There are many myths about Quetzalcoatl, but in some of his birth stories, Quetzalcoatl was born of a virgin who conceived Quetzalcoatl by swallowing an emerald. The Aztecs regarded Quetzalcoatl as a creator deity who helped create mankind. He was associated with the planet Venus and was a symbol of death and resurrection. Quetzalcoatl went to the underworld to create mankind, using his blood from his earlobe, calves, tongue, and penis. Supposedly, Montezuma thought Cortez was Quetzalcoatl, but that has been disputed, since the legend seems to be of Spanish origin, and written only in Spanish manuscripts. Some Franciscans saw elements of Christianity in the pre-Columbian religions, and therefore believed that Mesoamerica had been evangelized. Some Mormons believe that Quetzalcoatl was actually Jesus Christ. According to the Book of Mormon, Jesus visited the American continent after his resurrection.
Thanks, Quetzalcoatl. Dudes, you should see the comments on Encyclopedia Britannica. That dark-skinned, bearded carpenter J-Man from the Middle East sure got around. So answer me this, Christians. Why do you hate Quetzalcoatl so much? Your lives as anti-Quetzalcoatlians must be boring and devoid of any joy. Why do you spend so much time railing against Quetzalcoatl if you don't think he's real? Oh, you don't hate him? Why do you bother talking about Quetzalcoatl so much if you don't believe in him? Oh, you don't care about Quetzalcoatl? Because nobody's trying to tell you that for the simple crime of not believing in Quetzalcoatl, you're going to spend an eternity in hell with me? Nobody's trying to tell you that you live in a Quetzalcoatlian nation and Quetzalcoatl's laws are the laws of the land? And nobody's trying to tell you that Quetzalcoatl doesn't like your gay marriage and no wedding cakes for you, and Quetzalcoatl wants you to pray for him in school and put up his idols on government property and hand out his holy book on school grounds to children, and he wants you to teach his creation story in school that Quetzalcoatl created mankind from the blood of his penis as an alternative to Darwinist, evolutionist, evil, soulless, joy-stealing science. And where do you get your morals from if not from Quetzalcoatl, stupid anti-Quetzalcoatl theistians? And anti-Quetzalcoatl is anti-American. And screw you if you don't like it. And if you don't like in Quetzalcoatl we trust on our money and under Quetzalcoatl in the Pledge of Allegiance, you can just move to Canada, you socialist Nazi communist. Oh, nobody's actually saying or doing those things to you? Oh, well, I guess I'll stop talking about Quetzalcoatl then.
What? I just got here.